Have you ever imagined arriving at work and discovering that your shift partner is not human? That would be quite strange and shocking. Yet, it is becoming reality in real warehouses in China, where humanoid robots work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with no lunch break. A single Beijing startup has just raised nearly $350 million in just 2 months. That money is not being used to build prototypes or run laboratory demonstrations. It is being used to scale thousands of units across the country's largest logistics centers. What is happening is real, it is now, and it could redefine what we understand by human work. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly how this machine works, who is behind it, and what it means for the world. Want to understand everything? Then watch the video all the way to the end and I will explain it all. But first, subscribe to the channel. That way, you will stay informed about the latest news in robotics. The Chinese company, Robotera, announced the closing of a new strategic investment round exceeding 2 billion yuan, equivalent to approximately $280 million. The announcement alone would already be impactful. But what makes it truly extraordinary is the context. This fundraise comes just weeks after a previous round of 1 billion yuan, approximately $140 million, closed in March 2026. Combined, the two rounds bring the total raised over the last 2 months to nearly 2.5 billion yuan, or about $350 million. According to the company itself, investor demand far exceeded the originally planned amount, which, in startup vocabulary, is the clearest possible signal that the market believes in what is being built. With this new capital, Robotera's market valuation surpasses 10 billion yuan, equivalent to approximately $1.4 billion. The company has officially joined the club of unicorns, a term used for startups valued at over $1 billion, and it did so in record time. The company was founded only in 2023. Founded by Dr. Jianyu Chen in Beijing, Robotera was born with a clear proposition: to create general-purpose robots capable of learning, adapting, and acting through continuous interaction with the physical world. Unlike many competitors that bet on laboratory demonstrations, the company declared from the outset that its goal is large-scale deployment in real environments, factories, warehouses, and distribution centers. That ambition began to take shape as early as 2024, when Robotera launched what it described as the world's first direct-drive robotic hand, capable of reaching 70% of human efficiency in logistics operations. The company's investment history helps explain why market confidence is so high. Before the 2026 rounds, Robotera had already attracted names such as Geely, the Chinese automaker that rivals the industry's biggest players, Alibaba, Asia's largest e-commerce group, Samsung, the South Korean electronics giant, BAIC, another major automaker, Lenovo, a global leader in computers, and Haier, a home appliance manufacturer with a worldwide presence. Now, with the entry of CICC Group, which is also the company's operational partner in logistics centers, Robotera has not only raised money, it has transformed its largest potential clients into partners, a strategy that creates entry barriers that are difficult to replicate. The most visible result of that capital? In the second quarter of 2026, Robotera began delivering thousands of units of its humanoid robot, L7, to more than 10 logistics centers across different regions of China. The company reported a growth rate of 300% in 2026 and claims that its robots are reaching up to 85% of human efficiency in these environments, operating non-stop all day long. This leap from pilot project to industrial-scale deployment is what sets Robotera apart from most of its rivals. And it is also what is drawing the attention of the entire global robotics industry. But how does this robot actually work? What is inside the L7 that makes it capable of sorting parcels, recognizing objects, and navigating chaotic warehouses without stopping to be reprogrammed? The L7 was not built to impress in demonstrations. It was built to work, for real, in real warehouses, alongside real people. And what makes it different from everything that came before is not its appearance nor its strength. It is what happens inside it. Robotera solved one of the most difficult problems in modern robotics: teaching a machine to understand its surrounding environment and react intelligently, without fixed scripts, without manual programming for each new task. The L7 learns by observing. Someone performs a movement once, and it absorbs, replicates, and adapts it. This is the kind of capability that, until recently, existed only on paper. Now it is operating inside warehouses. The brain behind all of this is called ERA42, and it works based on an architecture known as Vision Language Action. The name sounds technical, but the concept is simpler than it seems. Think of the robot as having 3 major integrated capabilities. It sees, it processes images of the environment in real time through cameras and sensors. It understands the context. It interprets what it sees based on a large amount of language data and instructions, like an artificial intelligence model trained on millions of examples. And it acts. It transforms that understanding into precise physical movements, controlling its own motors and joints. These 3 functions do not operate separately. They form a continuous and integrated cycle, what engineers call an end-to-end system. In practice, what does this change? Everything. Traditional industrial robots need to be programmed for each new task. If the box changes shape, the robot stalls. If an item falls out of the correct position, it fails. The L7, on the other hand, processes the image of what is in front of it, decides in real time how to grasp that object, regardless of its shape, size, or position, and executes the movement. It does not depend on a camera calibrated to millimeter precision, nor on a script that says, if object A is here, do B. It infers. It adapts. It works more like a human employee who assesses the situation and improvises than like a mechanical arm following a well-defined movement pattern. Physically, the L7 stands 171 centimeters tall, weighs 65 kilograms, and has 55 degrees of freedom. A technical way of saying it has 55 independent joint points, allowing complex and fluid movements similar to those of humans. It can carry up to 20 kilograms with both arms, run at up to 14.4 kilometers per hour, and has already set world records in high jump and long jump for humanoid robots. But instead of using these athletic capabilities in laboratories, Robotera put them to work in real distribution centers, sorting parcels, identifying e-commerce items, and moving goods in continuous operations. The L7's hand has its own name, X-Hand, and it was not purchased from a supplier. Robotera developed it from scratch, in-house. It features 12 independent movements per hand, sensors that perceive touch and pressure with high precision, and a direct mechanism that eliminates intermediate parts. The result is a hand that is faster, more accurate, and more reliable than most of what exists on the market. So much so that in 2025, the X-Hand began to be sold separately, and more than 1,000 units were commercialized, half of them outside China. Robotera is deploying its robots in live logistics centers, collecting information on how they handle unforeseen situations, and using that data to train increasingly better versions of ERA-42. It is a virtuous cycle. The more the robot works, the more intelligent it becomes. The most immediate and concrete impact of what Robotera is doing falls on logistics and parcel sorting workers, a sector that in China employs tens of millions of people in highly repetitive tasks, such as package classification, loading, and product identification. With robots operating 24 hours a day and reaching 85% of human efficiency under real conditions, the math is simple. Where 10 employees working 3 shifts were previously needed, a growing number of machines can replace a large portion of that workforce. The arrival of humanoid robots with adaptive intelligence does not inaugurate a new problem. It accelerates one that was already underway. In manufacturing and logistics sectors, the replacement of repetitive functions by automation had already been compressing jobs and wages for years. What changes now is the speed and the reach. Machines that learn, adapt, and operate without interruption are not restricted to simple tasks. They advance on functions that, until recently, required human judgment. But there is another side, and it is usually overlooked. Robotera is not just selling robots. It is entering sectors that have never truly managed to automate. Warehouses with hundreds of different types of products, cargo inspections at international borders, operations that demand constant adaptation. $1 million contracts have already been signed. The technology is not waiting. It is already inside these operations. And alongside it, new roles are emerging that did not exist before. Someone needs to supervise the robot fleets. Someone needs to maintain the equipment. Someone needs to train the artificial intelligence models in the field and interpret the data these machines generate all the time. The enthusiasm surrounding Robotera is real, but industry experts recommend caution before declaring a definitive victory. The company reports impressive figures: 300% growth, 85% human efficiency, accumulated orders exceeding 500 million yuan. But these numbers come from the company itself and have not yet been independently audited. Robotera is not competing in the same game as its Chinese rivals. Unitree and Agibot dominate in volume and price. Together, they are expected to concentrate most of the humanoid shipments in China in 2026. Robotera chose a different path: deep specialization in e-commerce logistics and merchandise sorting, with strategic partnerships with major distribution operators. Outside of logistics, names like Samsung, Renault, and Lenovo already appear on the client list for industrial applications. On the global stage, American companies such as Figure AI and Agility Robotics have a longer track record and operate in markets with stricter regulation. But Robotera carries a concrete advantage: real scale. While most Western competitors are still operating in pilot projects, the company already has thousands of units in commercial operation. In the end, what separates a promising technology from a true transformation is exactly that: working reliably every single day. What the Robotera case represents is not just a Chinese startup raising money at an extraordinary speed. It is the signal that humanoid robotics is ceasing to be a promise and becoming infrastructure, a component as real in the supply chain as the trucks and conveyor belts we all already know. In 2 months, the company raised $350 million, transformed its largest clients into investors, deployed thousands of robots in real operations, and reported 300% growth. That is a disruption, not an iteration. And it is happening in a sector, logistics, that literally moves the world. What we still do not know is where this stops. China already dominates more than 80% of the global humanoid robot market, according to the analysis firm Verdict Research, and Robotera is one of the best funded bets in that ecosystem. But the question that remains, and on which we want to hear your opinion, is this. If Robotera's robots already reach 85% of human efficiency in logistics centers and operate 24 hours a day, how long will it take for that percentage to reach 100%? And when it does, what happens to the workers? Leave your answer in the comments. If the video was useful, like it and subscribe to the channel to stay informed about the latest news in robotics. Until next time.